Yo, what is that guy? Nah Nation, and this is the representation of the creation of the dreadlocks.
The nation!
Dreadlock Rasta. Sometimes it's so hard to be happy when all you do is hold on to your insecurities.
Today's video, we're looking at Skip Marley. Skip Marley being Jamaican-born singer-songwriter, son of Cedella Marley, and maternal grandson of Bob Marley, born 1996 in Jamaica, reggae artist. When I was in Jamaica, my lord, and no lie, I got plenty of times how much I look like one of the Marleys. And you can see in this photo here, like, we have a resemblance. I'm not comparing myself to them at all. I'm just saying I get it a lot. That's all I'm trying to say. Skip Marley's dreads though, looking quite legendary like his granddaddy himself. And quite the resemblance to Bob Marley as well. Locks like this coming in real thick. Definitely none of the twisted or interlocked kinds. And you can tell this by the lumps that are kind of happening in the locks themselves. No scarring of any sorts. And do note, take a look at the frizzy hair at the roots. This really shows that for the most part his new growth is just kind of free forming in, no twisting, no nothing happening. Embrace the frizziness, people. It's part of the journey, I swear, no lie. Photos like this, we can see the length that he's got. Again, probably the most official length of dreadlocks you can have, where it's not too short, not too long, and for the most part they're quite plentiful considering how thick his locks actually are. A lot of people would think that these locks are too thick for their own likings, but really this is like the perfect thickness of locks that you could actually get. When we see locks like this, we really do think of Bob Marley in the long run. Of course, these aren't as thick and aren't as congoed up as Bob's, but you can really see the texture resemblance in them. And it kind of reminds me of Bob's dreads in the early days. So I mean, in order to get dreads like this, you're essentially going to need a little bit of an afro textured hair to get some thickness. You're going to need a lot of hair to have the thickness of this. If you have a thin layer on your head, it's going to be harder to get dreads so thick. Essentially, you could accomplish these dreads by backcombing and twisting and ripping your hair into such shapes and then letting them freeform out in the long run. Shots like this are always useful to see how Tams look. A lot of people might find Tams cheesy or silly. For instance, this one in this photo, not the greatest looking Tam, but they are quite useful and tactile when you're trying to keep dust or even the sun off of your head in order to keep a cooler environment. Photos like this really show the parting actually right in the middle of his head. Personally, I would go kind of nuts having a part right in the middle of my head like this. It's too mop top-ish. It's just a minor thing. It's nothing crazy. I would just rather have a dreadlock in the middle right there opposed to a big part. Which you can kind of control that just by controlling the separation and the separating that's happening at the roots. But again, here we can see how his hair falls directly in the middle, creating that parts. I had this issue on my first set of locks. I wasn't really a fan of it. My set of locks I have now, it's not an issue. I have a dread right in the middle there, so I'm quite pleased by it. Going over to his Instagram page real quick, 69,000 followers, and more of a recent photo of Skip. We can see that his beard is now growing in as well, and he does have some maximum length happening on his dreadlocks. They're still just as thick, they're just longer now, almost passing his chest, whereas before it was just down to his neck. So a lot of growth, a lot of length happening. Showing the bare resemblance to his granddaddy Bob. Obviously Bob's hair, you can't see any of his roots, any of his separating at all, because he just has that mad fro underneath all of his locks. By far, Skip Marley definitely creating a great dreadlock movement, holding down the genes in his family. I'm going to end this video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Smash that like button down below, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Live streams every day at 4:20. You know what it is. Big ups yourselves. And I'll just see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, one love, my Not Nation family. I love you guys to death.
The nation.